Hello guys, welcome again to my video. Today I'm going to show you how to read CS.CSV files, how to parse date and index date on these files, and how to organize it, and of course how to plot some of this data in this .csv files. Now straight again we go to our Jupyter notebook and we now open a new script, a new Jupyter script. Now how do we open a CSV file? So how do we read a .csv file? Now we use what we call Pandas. Now what is Pandas? Pandas is a very cool programming module designed for Python, and it can even take data like .csv, .tsv or SQL database. And the beauty of Pandas is that it creates a Python object with rows and columns called data frames that looks very similar to the table in a statistical software like Excel. Now this is what Pandas does. It is quite a very beautiful module in Python. Now to read a CSV file, what we do now is we have to use Pandas like I wrote here. Now I have already saved the CSV file. I take you to the directory in my document. I have a series of files: net, cdf, gut, fish, and so here I have this file. If I open this file, it's also because this file as a .csv can also be opened with a Microsoft Excel sheet, because .csv can be opened with a text editor, and Excel is also a text editor. So if I click now to open this file, let's see what the data we have in this file. Now we have quite funny numbers, quite funny data in this file, which it looks so funny. And this is obviously an air pollution, as we can see: NO2, NOx, NO, ozone, and SO2. Now this is quite a data collected for daily for each pollution. Now let us try and see what we can use, how we can use Pandas to read this file. Now to run this file, to read this file, now the first thing we want to do is remember Pandas is a module in Python, so we have to beg Python to import. You say, Python, please, for God's sake, import Pandas. We can say Pandas as PD. So that's the first thing. Now because we are dealing with a numpy, because these data files are in a numpy style, so we can just decide, because definitely we might be using the numpy. So we can decide to say, please, Python again, we are always begging Python to please import numpy as np. And so when we have this two already, then let's run this as np. So now we already have these two modules imported by our Python. Now what we do now is we have to create a variable. Now let us call this variable data. Now data is equal to I'm in the German keyboard. Okay. It's equal to now to read a .csv, what we do is say pd.csv .read. I always say .csv. I don't know why I get this notion. Underscore csv. Then we open a bracket and we put a quotation. Okay. I think I'm using my keyboard. It's a problem, but it's a problem. Alright, good. Now what we'll do next is we want to see where we save this file. I saved this file in my in a folder inside my document, as you can see the directory. So what I just simply do is I just click this, and I copy this directory, and so I just paste this directory within my column. And so now if I have this, definitely if I read this should give me an error, because the problem is that the Unicode error, Python does not understand a backslash, so it only understands a front slash to be able to read. So by the time I do this, I will still get an error initializing from file fade, so because it could not find a file. So now what do I do next? Of course, I'm trying to read this file, so what I simply do as a shortcut is I just rename and copy. And so I copy the file name and I include the file name here. Oh, sorry, with a backslash again, and I include the file name. Now if I run this again, it's still going to give me error because this file does not exist. Why is it that this file does not exist? Because I have not included the extension of this file. So now if you take note, maybe for example you're given a file and you do not know the extension, you do not know if it's a CSV or a TSV or SQL file. All you just do is go to the properties of this file, then you check the details. Now if you look at the name of this file here, you see that it is a .csv. Now this is how you know the extension of this file. Now having known that, all you just need to do is to say .csv. Now if I run that, I should be able to get no error. Now the next thing I do is I now have defined my directories. Now let us see what is inside the folder. I can decide to print as the normal case, to say print, as we all know, for the sake of we can decide to use this code too. So this is what we have in this file. Now you agree with me that this file, this .csv, is not really organized. We still don't understand what is going on because the headings, the columns, everything, the indexing is totally in a terrible mess. Now how do we fix this indexing? You can decide to take this off and just say data. Now we have still quite funny. Now we can see that the first column, it's unit, meter, Bremen, and I think our major focus in this file is this heading, which is NO203 is what is our focus. Now how do we fix up this file? Now this is where Panda is also quite interesting, and how we could fix this, it's we can decide to, to break a line in pattern. We can decide to say .csv. We can decide to say a comma, then we continue the command. Now we can first see, we can either skip the first two rows of this table. Now we can either skip the first two rows of this table and see what it looks like. Now to do the skip, we just use Python understand certain English commands. We just say skip rows. Skip rows is equal to, I'll just like to make it more beautiful, equal to 2. Now if I do this, Python is going to automatically, Pandas is automatically going to skip the first 1 and 2. Now let us try this. Now let's just assume we keep this silent. Oh, sorry. Now let us assume I think I should change my keypad to English. Okay, now it's just change my keyboard. Okay, so now if we run this script now, and now we decide to run this, now let us see what happens. Now we can see that the first two rows of my table has been eliminated. Now I've succeeded in eliminating two tables, the two heads, because our main focus here is this heading. Now we've done that. Now what can we do again? We just need to create a separation means, because we have this funny columns between the data, which does not make it so look nice. And so how do we do that? We simply use the separation. Now there are quite different kinds of separation we could use, but today I'll just be using okay, this so we just say separate is equal to, we do this and this. Okay, so now we decide to take that out and let's see. Then what next do we do? Now we quite agree that now what can we do again? We just need to create a separation means, because we have this funny columns between the data, which does not make it so look nice. And so how do we do that? We simply use the separation. Now there are quite different kinds of separation we could use, but today I'll just be using okay, this so we just say separate is equal to, we do this and this. Okay, so now we decide to take that out and let's see. Then what next do we do? Now we quite agree that this we have 01/01/2010, which is date. Now we can look at this. This is the dates. These are dates which we already saw before in these columns, and so we have to index the date. Now how do we index this date? So what we do is we use the command called index underscore. I think because I'm always switching from German keyboard to English keyboard, that's why sometimes my fingers get confused with okay, now equal to, now what we do is we are indexing date. Now if we index this date, now what do we get again? If we run this and we run this, now we see that our code has been able to do our separating these columns, not to have columns within, and now we've just indexed the date into this table. Now the next thing we can also do is that we can as well use the parse command, the parse underscore date. Now and we can say please pass this to let's call it, let's use our usual date. And when we do this, we are going to have our parse is giving us error. Date is not defined. Oh, okay. So why we have this error is because we did not define date, which date has to be defined in so what we just simply do is that okay, now I think, yeah, so we just have to define this date by putting it in a column, and so that solves the problem. And so by the time we run this now we could see that now we have been able to run this CSV, or to open the CSV and organize the CSV in a very perfect manner that we can read, compared to what we saw before when we open this file. Now having done this, now we can also as well we can also as well do go to the next cell and say that let us make this data and read ahead of this data 7. Let's assume 7, and so let's see what happens. So it only considers 7 of this. It's just like indexing. Please consider only 7 headings. So we can decide to read because what we have here now is in this data we have in this data for this air pollution in this location Bremen, as we see, we have a column of over 7 columns and 3,600 over rows. So we can just decide to index only 7 of this column out, or we can even decide to index only 100 out, and so it depends on what we want. It depends on what we want. So guys, this is how we read .csv file. So please, in my next video, I will be also showing you how to analyze, how to plot these data, and how to show certain figures with this data. You can directly show the weekly, which of this plot or which of this pollution have weekly pollutions more than the other, what is the monthly average, what is the mean, and how can we show the correlation of this plot, and so many. We can calculate the trends. We can also do a weekly report of what is going on in this pollution, and we can even show a simple statistics and as well as evaluations of highest pollution per month. A lot we can do. So in the next video, please, I want you to join subscribe to my channel and watch for the next video. Thanks for watching.